Hello everyone. Quick announcement before the episode starts. It's Ces, the illustrious leader of this podcast. We're going to be talking about overrated players, and Dan and I decided to play a prank on James where we will disagree with everything he says and we will deliberately choose players that James loves and call them overrated. So let's see how he reacts to them in the second half of this episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Football is Fixable Alright podcast. I'm James and the Robin to my Batman is back. Hey Cess, how are you doing? You alright?
Robin to your back. Is that how you speak to your leader?
You're like my sidekick, aren't you? You're like the one I can always rely on to talk sense and to help me fight the crime of
there's a third
problems
person,
in football.
Guys, there's a third person in this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Quiet, Catwoman.
So, I was going to say, and then Batman's love interest. How are you doing, Dan? Meow.
Yes, I'm well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for remembering that I'm here. I appreciate that.
Put that whip away. Right, guys, we've got the team back, and it's for a big one today. We're going to get on to fixing overrated players. This is a real issue we've got, isn't it? We've got a bug to bear? Is that the phrase?
Yeah, why not?
That is a phrase, isn't it?
I think so.
Bug to bear. Yeah, we've got a bug to bear. I don't know why we're bearing bugs, but we have got a bug to bear.
Is it B-E-A-R or B-A-R-E? I
don't know.
Do you bear with the bug, or is it a bear bug?
A bug to bear. Let us know in the comments. We'll get to that. But first, can I bring in an off the post?
Oh, good idea.
Right, so I saw this great post, guys. This one was about Lionel Messi.
Oh.
And it was a post of him with the words, describe him in one word. So you can just imagine all the great one-word answers. So I'll give you a few of them here.
Yeah.
FIFA's favourite was one. Ronaldo's son.
Oh, wow.
A man who complete football was another.
Oh, God.
The Ballon d'Or stealer. Obviously a few Ronaldo fans, I imagine, in there.
Yeah.
One of my favourites was football's poetry in motion. That's a great one-word answer there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, my God.
Like Beckham said, winner. There's another one.
I would accept these if they were all written without any spaces. So it wasn't literally...
No, sadly there were spaces. They didn't really get that memo, did they? So, and one final one. No debate again about who is the greatest. I drop my pen. There you go. There is my
Fantastic.
off the post. Speaking about Messi then, overrated players, eh?
Wow.
I'm not going to be safe to leave the house now.
He's no Dennis Bergkamp.
No, he isn't. But he's up there with Dennis, isn't he? So
Up there with Dennis.
yeah.
Wow.
So we
know
don't
what?
want to be underrating these players. But
Can I
go on,
put
Dan.
forward an idea for future episodes, Cess? Can we bring in the QI klaxon for every single time James talks about Arsenal? That'd be
I think that's a good
fantastic.
idea.
What, just Arsenal in general?
No, unnecessarily provoked talking
Unnecessarily,
about Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know, like in our group chats, when we're just chatting away about something, and then he suddenly goes, "Oh, you know, Declan Rice." And we just think, let's ignore him.
Yeah.
He'll just speak himself out if we ignore him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a toddler.
Right, well-
Let him just wear himself out. He'll have an nap
we're not,
soon.
guys. Can we concentrate? We're not talking about underrated players like Declan Rice. We're talking about
Oh.
overrated players.
God.
So this has been a real issue because we've got plenty of currently overrated players in the Prem, for example. Why do we think that overrated players is becoming a big problem in football? Then, guys, what do we reckon?
It's been a massive thing, like quite recently on YouTube. I found a lot of the I don't know, there's like certain podcasts on Sky and the Club, Super Six, all that stuff. They're just constantly going on about overrated players, and I feel as though their measurement of overrated and underrated is just completely skewed. And I think that's the kind of thing that we're here for.
Exactly. We've had these, so off air, we've had these conversations for, weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, why do they think so highly of this player or this player or whatever? So today's episode, we're going to actually figure out, well, for one, who are some real overrated players? And two, what is it that the criteria that makes a player underrated, overrated, or just rated? Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Right then, guys. Before we can actually get into who the overrated players are, I think we should let the listeners know what criteria are we using? What makes a player overrated?
Right. Firstly, for me, I'd just like to say this, as, of course, you guys keep telling me I'm the least biased football fan in the world. Yeah.
It's very much self-proclaimed, and we don't disagree with you. So let's just clarify that.
I mean, if you guys aren't denying it, then you're basically saying it. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why I chose him as my sidekick.
I accept that.
Well, as I am the amazing guy that you keep saying that I am, I would say the first thing is that if you listen to the views of the fan base, then that argument is weak.
Yep, agreed.
And the reason I say that is because, well, it's basically because of bias. So, for example, there's a lot of talk at the moment about certain players. I think Chelsea and Arsenal really are the two front runners at the moment. You can say City are still there, but Chelsea and Arsenal, there's the game this weekend and everything. You've got Caicedo, Rice, Reece James, Timber, these kind of arguments.
Yep.
And if you listen to the fan base, then that means an Arsenal fan would always say Timber or Rice. A Chelsea fan will always say Caicedo or James. Yep. And I would say if you want to listen to fan bases, their arguments are weaker. It doesn't mean you don't listen to them, because they know their players well, but I would say their arguments are weaker because if you listen to a neutral, you would get more of an understanding of an unbiased view.
Yeah, you want more of a consensus, don't you? Rather than just, like you say, a kind of certain tinted glasses, if you like.
Exactly. So, yeah, if you take off the James tinted glasses, then I think you can see things clearer.
What's wrong with Reece James?
Yeah.
Cess, you're biased against Reece James again.
Again.
Dan, what do you think? How would you sort of measure overrated players? What would come into your criteria?
Well, I think it's important to point out on a follow-up to Cess's point about how there's a lot of bias and things. I think this is now a problem, and the reason why it's on our fixing agenda is because of social media outlets becoming more and more in the fore in terms of like sport coverage. So you've got this at the moment. You've got this absolute like storm of like this disastrous combination of you've got social media channels that have literally they can say what they like.
It's clickbaity, really, isn't it?
Well,
a lot of it is.
They can say it without any kind of like.
I saw one recently. You know the Mount Rushmore stuff that people keep doing nowadays.
Oh yeah.
I saw one today actually of the Mount Rushmore of Premier League strikers, and it had Aguero, Shearer, Rooney and Kane.
Oh my days.
And obviously it's clickbaity because Henry's not there. Henry should be the first one there, really. And so you can tell these are the kind of clickbaity things, and it's obviously clickbaity. If it's not clickbait, then it's probably a Tottenham fan, maybe. In which case, it's biased, and that's again my point.
So it ticks either of those criteria.
Yeah.
So
can I put an example?
What I was trying to say is, these fan-based channels, they say what they like without consequence. They have the clickbait, like you say, but we fixed this in the past with recency bias as well. So where you've got the combination of recency bias with these online channels that can say whatever they like without consequence, what you're finding is all of these players are becoming overrated, but that is starting to get picked up and followed by people, which really is what we're here to do. Really is defend the players that do deserve to be highly rated, because if you get all these players that are overrated, then the greatest players get forgotten, and that's the thing that needs to be fixed.
That's true. And then the word world class starts being thrown around the place, don't they?
And legend.
Yeah.
Like legendary and world class.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, to be fair, James is culprit to this. What did he say the other day? Granit Xhaka was a legend? I think is recorded on the pod. Granit Xhaka, Arsenal legend. So
I don't know if I said that.
Pretty
Really?
sure. We'll have to go back and
Not
listen
sure.
to the episode. But yeah,
If
these are
Granit
the things we
Xhaka
need
is a
to
legend,
fix.
then Felipe Senderos is a legend.
Right. So I saw something recently, and it was a post on world-class players in the Premier League of the Big Six, right? All the clubs how many world-class players do they have?
Yeah.
And at the very top, it's got Chelsea have 6, according to this particular
Six.
post.
That
Can
is
I
crazy.
guess which ones they are? Have you got the list there?
Yeah.
Okay, so Caicedo.
Yeah, he's in there. Yep.
The absolute legends, Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer is in there. Yep.
Yeah. Reece James.
Yep, he's in there.
Cucurella.
He's in there too. Yep.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Enzo?
2 to go. Enzo's, number 5.
Enzo, yeah.
And then number 6,
Number 6.
he's a defender.
Colwill.
Yeah, Colwill's number 6. So there we go. Six world-class players for Chelsea, according to this particular post. Arsenal only have 3.
I don't think any
Gabriel
of those
Saliba
players.
and Rice.
I don't think any of those players are world class.
The one I would say is the most likely for Chelsea is Reece James on that list, I would say.
Maybe, yeah. Caicedo's a brilliant player.
Oh, actually, yeah, Caicedo.
Maybe.
That's a good point.
Caicedo could be in that discussion.
Cucurella's done well enough to be considered, I suppose. Left back is always traditionally quite a difficult position for most teams, isn't it? So
Are there many world-class left-backs
Yeah.
out there, really? So he's probably in that conversation. He won the Euros with Spain.
Oh, but obviously, Cole Palmer. He's done everything, hasn't he? He's gone to the moon.
He probably has,
He could. I'm sure he could walk into any side in any of the top teams in world football.
Oh, he will warm those benches like no one else. Yeah.
But this is the thing. So on this post, it's got the Big Six, the traditional Big Six.
Yeah.
Chelsea have more world-class players, according to this post, than any other side. Arsenal have 3. Liverpool have 4.
Was it posted by a Chelsea
and-
fan?
Well, the post is by somebody called KBCFC.
Well, there you go.
Is that possibly Chelsea Football Club? Maybe a biased
It
post there?
might be, yeah.
It had a lot of comments, a lot of shares, a lot of likes and laughters and stuff like that. And it was
Yeah.
on a Chelsea fan group, so yeah.
That's the thing. I think you'll find that if you go to any fan channel or, you go to AFTV, that's a hilarious
Brilliant channel.
weekend you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of sense you'll find on AFTV.
Is
Yeah.
it? Yeah, right. Even the best one from AFTV is Robbie. Even Robbie, when he steps outside of AFTV, he becomes just as stupid as anyone else.
Yeah, he does a bit, actually. Yeah, I have to admit that. I like Robbie a lot from... he does make some sense sometimes. He's one of the more sensible ones. But then you'll get him on the when Sky do those, when they bring the fans together and stuff. And
he's terrible in that. Actually, talking about Cole Palmer, we've talked about the Cole Palmer train before. He is kind of the definition for me of overrated.
Ooh.
Because
Ooh.
the thing about calling a player overrated, it doesn't actually mean that they are... they're no good.
Yeah,
or
it's not that
anything.
they're a bad player.
Yeah, I would say someone could be overrated even if they're world class. So, say for example, I don't know. Let's say when Pele was playing, or Maradona, Messi, the best players in the world that were quite evidently the best player of their era.
Yeah.
At some point they would have been declining or rising, and so other players would have been better. So if you say Messi is world class or the best player in the world now, what you're saying is there is not a single player that is better than him.
In the current situation.
Yeah, and
which
if there
not
is,
true.
if he's the second best, then he is overrated.
He's being overrated.
Yeah, it's basically looking at the expectation that, like, their expectation. We always say with clubs, whenever we talk about who's the manager of the season or the team of the season and everything, we always talk about the expectation of the club.
Yeah, very true.
So we don't just give manager of the season to the manager that won the league, which is what the Premier League always does. We always give it to a manager who exceeded the expectation. And I think that goes the same with rating a player. If you overrate a player because you say Cole Palmer is the best number 10 in the league, what you're saying is there can't be another number 10 that's better than him. If there is, then he's overrated.
He's overrated.
Yeah.
At the moment,
Yeah,
I would
that's
say
fair.
this season, Eze has done better than him in a number 10 role.
Yeah.
In which case, if you say Cole Palmer is the best number 10, you're overrating him.
Cole Palmer's had brilliant phases in recent seasons and stuff where he's had great moments of form and scored great goals. And in those moments, he might be the best player in his position or whatever it might be, the best player at Chelsea and so on.
Yeah.
But people hang on that, don't they? And we're seeing a lot of these comparisons. You mentioned Timber against Reece James, for example. I've seen a lot of those recently. Obviously, you mentioned the Arsenal-Chelsea game over the weekend and stuff, and that's going to draw a lot of those comparisons. But Reece James has been doing it a lot longer than Timber has. Timber's, I think, is brilliant. He might be the best.
He's had a good 11 games this season.
This season, I think he's been phenomenal. But should we be comparing those players? I think we probably have to do an episode on fixing these comparisons as well, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But in terms of overrated, you have to look at the current situation. Like, you mentioned Messi. Rooney, I think, for the first 5-6 years was world class. Yeah,
here we go.
He was brilliant in those first 5-6 years. I don't, you might disagree with me, but I think he was world class for the first few, 5-6 years. But then for the rest of his career, he was living off that hype.
So are you saying from the age
ridiculous.
He was world class from the age of 16 to 21, and then he lived off his reputation from the age of 21 to 34.
Okay, maybe 21 and a half, 22, whatever it was, but then at least for the last 6 or 7 years, he was living off that reputation.
He was in his coming into his mid-20s when he was in, by what you said, was one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. So
yeah,
he
that's
must
true.
have
No, he wasn't
world class for more than 5 or 6 years.
He was 16 in 2020. No, 2002. He was 16 in 2002. How old would he have been in 2008?
He wouldn't be 6 years later.
Wait, there you go.
22.
So 22. Yeah,
so that's after
not 24, 5, 6 or whatever. I said I'll stretch as far as 22. Anyway, the point is, he did, for the last few years of his career, taking it all seriously. So he was living off of the hype he had earlier on in his career, I think. Yeah. He wasn't the same player. He's still very good.
Yeah, I definitely...
So does every player, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rooney was a player that I think Scholes said it, he peaked early. Yeah. So the best of his career was before the traditional kind of peak that you would expect, like 27. 20, yeah, exactly. However, I would say he still had a very long time towards the top. Whereas Cole Palmer, I'm not saying Cole Palmer's no good, but he had a good half a season last season. You remember he went from, December to April without scoring or assisting?
Yeah.
Something like
Saka
that.
got injured, came back and scored before Cole Palmer
scored
a goal. Yeah.
And yet he came, 8th or something in the Ballon d'Or list.
That's crazy. That is mental. That's overrated.
And
how does that happen?
Yeah, that's the Ballon d'Or.
I don't understand.
No, it makes no sense at all. And that's all this year, right? So he didn't score he scored one, I think, last season from January.
Yeah.
And he was 8th.
It's just insane, isn't it? I think another episode we're going to have to put out there, actually, is fixing the Cole Palmer train, guys. We've mentioned it a few times. It's on the list. We're going to have to look at why people can he's overrated. Why is this?
Yeah.
So we've kind of presented criteria to how we are overrating players, and I tend to agree with both of what you said. The bias, not just team bias of the team you support, but also that recency bias Dan mentioned, as well as kind of the media hype and media as well, the media in general. It's like you see that Foden pass for Eze for England. It's almost like the media, not just social media, but the presenters on the media were actually, even the commentators in the game were saying how great a pass. It was a sideways pass, which was all right. It was okay.
Yeah.
But it took the limelight away from a sublime goal from Eze. Yeah. And it's kind of like these agendas are pushed out there. And I think there's an agenda for Cole Palmer as well. The media just he's the darling of the media,
I mentioned this before, I think it was the first season actually with you and me, when I said
the good old days.
The good old days, yeah. It was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There wasn't all that, I don't know,
fluff.
I see how it is, guys.
Yeah, all that waffle. Yeah.
Catwoman.
Yeah. But yeah, so in the first season, I mentioned about specifically agendas related to basically racism. And I was talking about how there's this idea when Saka came up, Saka's good, but we need to find someone white to talk about instead. So let's talk about Grealish. Grealish didn't do so well, so let's talk about Foden. Foden's not doing so well, so now let's talk about Palmer.
Yeah.
And it's always this idea of, but Palmer's so good, you can't not have him in the team, so you've got to have him over Saka. Why?
What? Yeah, people don't generally play in the same position.
Yeah.
And it was just clear that there was this agenda from the media to push him out there.
Yeah, Ian Wright said something really
as well.
Interesting, didn't he, on the Stick to Football podcast about Bellingham.
That
was covering the same thing. Obviously, it happened a good couple of years after you brought it up, Cess, but, they've got to catch up at some time, haven't they? But But yeah, like I thought that was really interesting as well. The fact that he said to Bellingham, he said like, wait for it, it's coming. Like he knew it would happen, and like the hate towards Bellingham is insane. Like for me, I'd have Bellingham over Palmer any day of the week.
Same.
Yeah.
And yet the criticism he's getting and the adoration Palmer's getting, that's why this whole overrated thing is a real problem. Is because people like Bellingham, like real class players, they get overlooked for these people that are just hyped up through, like you say, agendas and stuff like that, and it's just a mess.
Just want to make it clear, though, we aren't saying that Cole Palmer's a bad player. He's a really good player, a real talent, and he's no doubt going to get better in his career as well. We all agree on this, right?
Absolutely.
But it's the kind of how everyone talks about him like he's already the greatest player in existence.
Yeah.
That's the thing we don't quite get. So we're not hating on him or anything like that. We really do rate him, but I feel some people are overrating him.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we get into a list of players, do you reckon, guys, of who our most overrated players are?
Our own overrated players. Yeah.
Before we do that, though, before we get into our players, here's some of my players, guys, with Player on Air. I'm not even going to bother asking you this week to change to Zess. Play your tune. Let's get it over with.
I've accepted it.
Current scoreline, Cess, you are ahead. It's 6-4.
Of course I am.
The rules remain the same.
It's temporary.
You guess player or nayer, and if it is a player, you guess the sport, and you get a bonus point. Cess, as I've
I'm going to
missed you
immediately
so much,
say it's a player and cricketer. Give me the name.
Okay.
It's brave.
Well, okay, you're wrong, so 0 points for you. No.
Oh, wait.
Right. So, name for you, Cess. Bern Haas.
Bern Haas. I'm going to say player. And I'm going to say, I mean, that could be a cricketer, but I'm going to say something slightly different. I'm going to say tennis.
It is a player. You get the point.
Good
He's a Swiss footballer.
Ah, should
You
always
missed
go
the
for
bonus
footballers,
point, sir. Sticking to the Haas theme, James, your player is Ruben Butt.
Ruben Butt.
I mean,
No.
there's been a Nicky Butt.
There's been a Nicky Butt, but no one would be silly to call them Ruben Butt. That's not a name. I'm not having that. I'm going to say Nayer.
What, you don't believe the name Ruben?
Yeah, Ruben's
opposed
not a
to
name.
We played with a Ruben.
Yeah, but his surname wasn't Butt, was it? You never put those two together.
You are wrong, James. It is a player. Now, it's interesting you bring up Nicky Butt because it is actually Nicky Butt's son. Nicky Butt named his own son Ruben.
So
He
you
called his
just
son
said who would
Ruben
call...
Butt.
And this is awkward.
He is a footballer. He plays for Salford. So yeah, real person, real name, real player. Nicky Butt's not going to be happy with us, but that's his son.
That's unfortunate.
So after that round, the score's now 7-4 going into the next one.
Right then, lads. Who are is what I want to say. Who are our most?
Who are our?
Who are? He says with a parrot on his shoulder.
Right then, lads. Who are they?
Oh man! And James's Somerset tones come out strong into the podcast.
It comes out occasionally.
Yeah.
And that was a moment. Who are
Please ensure that stays in, Cess. Please.
Oh, absolutely. It's staying in there.
Superb.
Who are our? Yeah.
There you go.
Who are our most overrated players?
Doesn't
Do we
sound
think?
like you at all. Wow, it's weird.
Speaking
Who are our?
Who are our? There we
Right.
go.
So we picked two names each, haven't we?
Yep.
I would say, as you are Batman. Oh, I did air quotes, by the way. This is a podcast, isn't it?
Yep.
Air quotes, Batman. Would you like to go first?
Yeah. Right, so first of all, overrated, I'm going to say Virgil van Dijk.
Oh,
I'm putting him out there. He's overrated, guys.
Oh,
You know what? I actually agree with you.
so do I.
Thank you very much. We end it there.
You're going to have that as your ringtone, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I mentioned this before, didn't I? That if you're going to call someone world class or the best in something, then you have to say that there isn't anyone else who is above that.
Yeah.
And I would say at the moment there are a number of even centre backs that are better than him, not just players in general, in the Premier League.
Exactly that. And this is the thing. I think he's overrated at the moment because people are still saying he's the best defender, and some people are being silly enough to say he's the best Premier League defender ever. Yeah. Which I think is crazy.
And that's the thing, like with Van Dijk, like I fully accept that all players are going to have their peaks and then like their dips and things like that. And obviously Van Dijk, he's not at the peak of his career anymore. And I don't think that makes him any less of a player for the career that he's had. So I won't say that, he's not an incredible defender, but when you're comparing him to being like the best Premier League defender of all time, that's for me when he becomes overrated. I think there's so many centre-backs that I think he's the best of his era, but in an era where defending is really a low quality. You look back at previous eras and you look at the best defenders of a time where defending was at a much higher level. They're the ones that you really compare them to.
And they were playing against much better forwards.
Yeah, we were talking a while ago, I remember, about centre-backs and how if you look back 20, 30 years ago, we smashed out 10 names easily, and any one of them you could say is the best. You had Maldini, Nesta, Puyol, Piqué, Ramos, Pepe, Ferdinand, Terry, Campbell, Adams, all of these names that we were just saying over and over.
Just say loads and loads and loads.
And then this was a year or two ago, and we said, all right, who are the best centre-backs right now in the whole world? And we said, Virgil van Dijk, and then we thought...
Harry Maguire?
Yeah, we literally thought, is Harry Maguire one of the best?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So he's definitely the best of his era. I agree with that. He's up there. You could say maybe in the top 10 best centre-backs in the Premier League era. You could argue maybe gets into the top 5.
He might push for top 5. And that's the thing. I am not saying he's not a top defender. He really is. But is he in the greatest? Some people are saying he's the greatest Prem. Often, going back to the criteria we were talking about in the first half of this episode, it's people who are either Liverpool fans or it's young people who have that recency bias. So there's bias both sides there.
Definitely.
So it's those two boxes that are ticked, really.
I agree with
you.
A
lot of people are saying Van Dijk is for those reasons.
All right, who's your second?
Well, my second was actually going to be Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
We've already mentioned that, so I don't want to go on too much about. We've said how we feel he's a bit overrated. He's no doubt a real talent, but he needs to... I think after his whole career, we can actually judge him more appropriately, really.
Yeah.
So there we are. So those are my two most overrated players currently in the Premier League. Who are yours, Cess?
Right. So Robin. The first one, just so that I can show you guys how unbiased I am, I'm going to start off with an Everton legend.
Ooh.
I'm going to start off with Martin Keown.
Wait, whoa, what?
Yeah, the Everton legend that is Martin Keown.
How is he overrated?
I mean, okay, let's look at his... When we look at players, we look at legacy and, trophies, how many games they've played, longevity, all that stuff.
Yeah.
However, with him, I always find that we've all played football at an amateur level. We played Sunday League and all these things.
Yeah.
There's always that player, the centre-back, who's quite overweight, not that good at football, and so he decides to be the violent one, the hack the player down at all costs because I'm not good enough to actually tackle you properly, And I would say that is Martin Keown right there. The only time I think he was good was the short time he played for Everton. Then I got no problems with him.
Okay.
But otherwise... Yeah.
I think, Dan, I've just spotted the first ever time Cess has been clearly biased. Basically, we know that he's got an agenda against Martin Keown. Keown is a rock. He was a rock at the back of that Arsenal defence. He could fill in next to Tony Adams, next to Sol Campbell. He's won God knows how many... I say God knows. I've got the list right here. 3 Premier Leagues.
Yeah, everyone knows.
European Cup Winners' Cup. I know that he's actually a great defender.
So we've said before that you can't use trophies as a way to judge a player, which is exactly what you're doing right now. I think
I'm using trophies as an added extra,
also,
but he was a top defender.
Also, remember, the argument isn't if he's a good player or not. The argument is if he's overrated or not. So
absolutely. And I think he managed to ride the coattails off of genuinely great players like Tony Adams and everything. And he was just around in a lucky period.
I think
that's the way I see it.
Sol Campbell,
in a period where strikers were at their best.
Sol Campbell.
But
I
look,
mean,
he was
yeah.
next to Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell's like literally one of the best centre backs I think Arsenal's ever had, wasn't he?
If anything, Sol Campbell's underrated.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
I'd
that
agree
good.
with that,
I'd
yeah.
agree with that 100%. And yeah, I
look
get
good
where
next to
Cess
Sol
is
Campbell,
coming from. I do
know?
understand where he's coming from because he's in
Yeah.
the Invincibles
And then
team and
even-
everything, isn't he? And is he that same level of player as the rest of that squad?
Exactly.
Well,
he
he
keeps
was a
getting
squad player during
He was a
that
squad
season.
player, but he keeps getting introduced as the Invincibles legend by Jim White on
Yeah,
TalkSport.
exactly. Yeah,
And
right.
also the not just the player career, the punditry career. He is well overrated. Like, how is he
How's he getting jobs?
all the match of the
that is
day?
true.
and-
That is
yeah,
true.
it
When-
is terrible.
When he actually tries analysing, it's actual analysis. He can actually give really good insights.
Can
he's
he?
a champion. He's a leader of men.
I think
he's been a captain.
He's one of the most overrated and biased people out there.
I mean, he's openly
Yeah.
biased.
I think his
he admits
punditry
that.
reflects his ball knowledge and obviously
Yes.
his footballing
It's very high,
intelligence.
being that he thinks very highly of Arsenal.
No, overrated. Riding the coattails of genuine players. That's the way I see it.
He came up through the Arsenal ranks and he was a top player, England international as well, for like 15, 20 years.
I don't argue.
He was
I
phenomenal.
don't argue he was a top player, but I don't also disagree that there's an argument to say he was overrated. 'Cause
Definitely.
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would argue he wasn't a great player.
One of the Invincibles and all that stuff, and he's a good squad player.
Look at James's face right now.
From the criteria
Yeah.
we've set out,
Martin
it
Keown,
makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Not when you know what you're talking about. So when Martin Keown was in training, he was the one who was told to mark Henry and Bergkamp because he was one of the best man markers
How do
in
we
the
know
team.
that's
He was a
true?
better man marker than
That
Sol
sounds
Campbell.
like a folk tale in training.
It completely
Do you
does,
know what I
doesn't
mean?
it?
Because
Yeah.
I've heard Henry say it. I've heard Bergkamp say it. I'm an Arsenal fan. You know
He
how
was
sad
so
I am
good
of
he
how
was
I
so
know
good
this
at
stuff.
marking in training that he'd accompany Dennis to the toilet and pass him at the urinals. What is that as evidence for your argument?
Yeah, I agree. And he was so good that he didn't become a coach or a manager or anything like that. They were like, yeah, thanks very much. You retire. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
In fact,
Well, he
do you
did
know what
actually
he did?
become.
Do you know
He
what-
joined the
do
coaching
you know what he
staff.
did? Like, Talk Sport is where people go at the end of their punditry careers because they then get
Yeah.
a little bit too bored with the normal stuff and they want to be a little bit just do whatever they want, and so they I'm trying to think of good examples Richard Keys went over there, Souness. Who is
Yeah.
who's the guy that did Gillette Soccer Saturday for forever and then went to Talksport? Jeff Stelling.
Oh, yeah.
All of these people, they go Martin Keown did the equivalent of a film that goes straight to DVD. He went straight to Talksport, didn't he?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, he completely flopped as well. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my first one.
Right.
I think
Sorry.
we all agree with that one.
Well,
So
hurry up and get your second one because we need to get to Dan's before he's pushed off to TalkSport and he's a pundit on there.
all right, so my second one, I think we'll all agree with this, to be honest. I call him Gianfranco Zola.
No.
Yeah.
You are no way.
I think
Yeah.
your reaction is exactly my point
Yeah.
here, because he's someone that he didn't play. I don't think he played during the Mourinho era. I think
No, he didn't.
He left just before that, didn't
Yeah.
he? Now, he was at Chelsea for about 6-7 years. He won a couple of things, a couple of FA Cups, Super Cup or whatever it was.
Yep.
However, it was because they actually had a genuinely decent team. They were regularly getting into fighting for the top four. They're not this kind of team that didn't win anything. And it was like that before he arrived, and it became better when he left.
Zola had some great.
And he's one of those.
Sorry, Seth. Sorry to interrupt. Zola, he had some great moments, didn't he? Zola. He was like a moments.
He
player,
did.
Yeah.
He's a moments player, a flashy player with not much end product. Do you know that he was there for 7 years and he was allowed basically free reign to do what he wants, the Cole Palmer kind of situation? He scored 59 goals. 59.
Did he?
And I think someone who, I think people think of him, and again, this is one of those things, not saying he's not a good player, but if he's someone who is a luxury player given freedom to roam, then you need to be Lampard-esque. You know, he's someone who is, you called technically a luxury player, the Cole Palmer style,
Yeah.
but he gave you
Yeah.
an end result. Whereas Zola, No, I don't think he was good enough to actually be given that free roam for a team that was trying to compete for the top 4.
I think he's like.
Oh, can I come in now?
I think it's difficult because he's like a cult hero, isn't he? So, so like among the Chelsea fans, obviously they absolutely love him, but like so many people did like speak of him and rate him so highly. Like I can understand an argument for them being over. Like he was an incredible player, but really, like did that Chelsea team achieve incredible things? Like. I didn't realise he'd scored. I thought he'd scored more than that. I thought he was in like the 100 club or something.
Yeah, loads of people think he scored loads, but yeah.
Okay, I'm coming in now because I've had enough of this nonsense. Gianfranco Zola was and he still is, one of my all-time favourite Premier League players. He was a joy to watch.
Wow. I mean, that in itself is overrating a player right there.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's the greatest player ever. What I'm saying is that he was one of my favourites, and that's not overrating. That's just how much you enjoy watching someone play. He had genuine magic. I say genuine magic.
He was like Harry Potter
stars
on the
coming out. Yeah, levitating and stuff. But no, it was absolute magic. He would just a bit like what Bergkamp would do, and that's what I loved watching. What was a very
bring in another overrated player to
ring that klaxon, Cess. Ring that klaxon.
During the Invincibles era, yeah.
I think one thing which goes against Zola is he was in a team that they were a good side, as you mentioned, but they were in an era where Arsenal and Man United were just a level above. They were just better sides.
Yeah.
And Zola could only lift the team so much. Zola, if you go across his whole career, he played with Maradona. He was a great, great player, had a great career, won loads of cups and trophies.
What does playing with Maradona mean?
Well, if you could break into a side with Maradona in it, doesn't that mean that you must be a good player?
Maradona played in loads of teams. Maradona had loads of teammates. Yeah. Doesn't make them all incredible players, does it?
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Maradona a few decades ago, and he said that Gianfranco was one of his favourite partners on the pitch.
Of course, yeah.
And Zola, it was those moments of magic. He wasn't the out-and-out striker. That's not who he was. He had like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Ida Johnson and stuff at Chelsea at that point. Yeah. Chelsea were my second favourite team to watch, other than Arsenal.
But they were just as successful before him. He didn't what was it you said? He didn't bring them up or whatever.
Lift them, raise their level.
Yeah. And then they were far more successful after him. And I think that's quite telling.
I think he did raise them in terms of the way the link up and the way he played. And go and look at his catalogue of goals. The magic. It was absolutely... He could score goals at very few
stages. Most of them. Anyway. Which is why I think he's a moments player. You know, like you get these moments player, like Di Canio. Like you get these players that have moments of brilliance, and it's great to watch those moments.
Yeah, but it's not something you can rely on, is it?
Yeah, and it doesn't make them like an absolute world-class player.
Yeah. Well, he was Football Writers... Footballer of the Year in 1997. He's been in several Team of the Year awards.
Yeah, which adds to the argument that he's being overrated. He's an incredible player.
Yeah, that is very true.
But does he deserve all of those accolades? That makes...
Yes.
That is what makes...
Absolutely.
So thank you for making the argument, James. Thank you for asserting that point.
I think he's underrated. He's underrated, if anything.
All right, let's go on. Before we see a nosebleed from James... Shall we go to yours, Dan?
I am quite concerned that I kind of don't want to share mine now, to be honest with you.
I'm sure you did your due diligence. It's fine.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I've got a little bit of a personal thing on both of these, so I'm going to hold my hands up here. But
sounds like bias is about to
my first one, and this is following actually from the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, James. My first one is Ashley Cole.
Oh my word!
So
Ashley Cole,
overrated.
I think
Cole.
like we've said, this is not saying he's not a good player. I think he's an incredible player. But for me, the way that players talk about him as if he cannot be touched or competed as the best left back of all time, when there's so many other left backs that are at least in the conversation or you could have a debate around. The fact that so many people say that but he is not. He is not leagues ahead of everybody as a left back. He is one of the best left backs, but he is amongst a group of 5 or 6 left backs. You know, I don't think that Patrice Evra is that far off of him. I think as a left back he was quite close. As I've said before, Dennis Irwin, personally I think is better, but that's
Can
just
anyone
my...
guess what team Dan supports?
But that's just two players.
I
That's
would
just two
reckon.
Man United players I've picked out, and I'm sure there's other players from other teams that could also have that same argument. Again, I don't think Ashley Cole is this
I would
untouchable
say,
left back.
You know, we said a while ago, I don't know if we said it on an episode actually, but it was a conversation we had. You know, when I don't like the idea of retiring a shirt number.
Oh yeah, I can't stand
Yeah,
that.
it's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you think, like, hang on, when you're growing up and you want to be like, oh my god, I want to play the number of my hero, and then you find out,
No,
no,
you're
not
not allowed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible. And I feel whenever people talk about the best Premier League players, I feel like we've almost retired the left back position. It's kind of, it's Ashley Cole, let's not discuss it. And I know what you mean, because then there's other players that are either coming up or have played to a certain level, like Dennis Irwin. Some of his career was before the Prem, so all of a sudden he's been forgotten.
That doesn't count, does it?
Exactly, that's exactly it. And you know, people like Patrice Evra won more things than Ashley Cole, and yet it's like this idea. No, we can't talk about that left back position though, because we've said Ashley Cole, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean, because that actually, in a very indirect definition, means he is overrated, because all of a sudden we have to say he's the best.
Listeners,
Exactly.
I know you're with me. I know I have to, feel sorry for me that I have to sit here and listen to this absolute garbage.
Oh,
So
what?
you're telling
Because
me? So
an
James, in
Arsenal
all
fan is
honesty,
saying
you're
an
telling
Arsenal
me?
players-
So no one's allowed any...
Yeah, it's like no, James, you're telling me there is not a single left back in the Premier League history that is even in the conversation to be close to Ashley Cole as a competitor, because that is the narrative around Ashley Cole, which is why I think he's overrated.
in the conversation... No.
You got what? Dennis Irwin, Patrice Evra, Andrew Robertson, Leighton Baines.
Sorry, who was that?
It's
Leighton Baines.
Yeah.
You need a tissue there.
Leighton
Is it?
Baines.
no, just Andy Robertson. Yeah.
Right. So that's your conversation, and then, okay, let's have a conversation, and Ashley Cole's the best of them. Great. There you go.
No, see, I think that in itself is the
Okay.
reason
Well,
why
we're-
he's overrated. I agree with Dan's view that because there can't be a conversation, I would say that's enough to say it is an overrated view.
Okay, Dan, and your other overrated player who you have a gripe against, apparently.
Okay. Steven Gerrard.
No.
But surely
I
it's not
think-
because you're a Man United fan.
It partly probably is, let's be honest. But I personally, for me, I just feel he was a world-class player and everything, but he was one of the ones that he always wanted to be like the hero. You know, when he played for England, he always wanted to play the killer ball that would normally go missing, which is why England weren't as successful as they should have been. God, couldn't get that out. They weren't as successful as they could have been because, like, he was, and at Liverpool it worked fine because he was like a big fish in quite an average team, and so he could be the hero all the time. He was the captain or whatever. But as soon as you put him across other world-class players, he couldn't work with them because he was just this one-man band.
That's something that was quite telling, wasn't it? Yeah, there's
know what I
always
mean?
this idea of Lampard and Gerrard doesn't work, and then Scholes kind of had to be put on the wing to try and accommodate both of them and stuff. You kind of have to put a bit of blame on those players, don't you? Saying, like, you should have found a way.
Yeah,
But both of them were good enough. Scholes was good enough to be able to play together.
Yeah. I agree. And this came up recently on an episode with Ashley Cole. I know we were chatting about it, Dan, recently when he was on the Gary Neville podcast show thingy.
Oh, yeah.
And Ashley Cole was saying, Gary Neville asked Ashley Cole, why did that England team not work? And he said he feels that there were too many heroes wanting to be the leader in there. So I think that can go across not just from Steven Gerrard, but Paul Scholes, Lampard, Beckham. They're all trying to be the big one, the leader.
Yeah.
When actually it wouldn't fit. You need a team to actually have that cohesion. So
Yeah.
I hear your argument, but Steven Gerrard is not overrated.
You know the thing I mentioned to you about the Mount Rushmores?
Yeah.
It's become a real thing, hasn't it? Because AI can produce the faces on Mount Rushmore, and everyone's choosing the...
Mount Rushmore is a real thing, yeah.
Oh, no way. And I saw loads of the Premier League ones, and I've seen so many people put Gerrard in the Premier League Mount Rushmore. You can only have 4, on the Mount Rushmore
Yeah.
of Premier League players. And I've seen loads of people put Gerrard in there. And I feel as though you can't really put a Premier League player on there of someone who's never won the Premier League. In the same way, in the Champions League, I think it must have been last season, they asked Rio Ferdinand and a few other players to create the Champions League all-time 11. And some of them were arguing Buffon, but Rio Ferdinand pointed out, I can't choose a player for the Champions League all-time 11 who hasn't won the Champions
Never
League.
won it. Yeah.
So I would say in that sense, yeah, Gerrard could be seen as overrated in the sense that people are putting him as one of the 4 iconic Premier League players when he's never actually even won the league that he's supposed to be an icon in.
Right. Well, you've heard it there then, guys. The overrated players have been put on the table. Do you agree, disagree? Let us know in the comments.
I reckon we made a good list there. James, he made a bit of a fuss, but I reckon he agreed with us, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he practically made the case at the end for
Zola, yeah.
didn't he?
That's a good point, yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
almost had to hold him back. We were like, enough. Like, Zola's been battered enough here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going from overrated players to an overrated fantasy football guru, here's John's juicy tips. Juicy.
Give us some of your overrated tips, John.
John's juicy tips.
Alright. Talking of overrated players, my tip for triple captain, Erling Haaland, barely had a shot this week. Anyway, these tips have got to be better than that. In defence, it's Aaron Ramsdale. He's taken over the goalkeeping shirt for Newcastle. And at only 4.8 million, that makes him the best value goalkeeper in the game. In midfield, it's the Welsh wizard, Harry Wilson for Fulham. In the last month, he's nailed down his place in the starting lineup. He's also scored a hat-trick for Wales and an absolute perler this weekend. So, at 5.2 million, he's a bargain. And up front, it's Alexander Isak for Liverpool, because he's finally scored a goal. Juicy.
Thanks, John. Well, I hope these tips are better than his last set, because I think he recommended of put like captain in Haaland, and I did notice a certain
I
Dan
followed
and
his
John
tips.
triple captain
I followed
Haaland
him
this week.
Oh man.
Ouchie,
I tell you, last week we were saying that like the FFP, there should be like some kind of lawyers for you for FFP. We were going to bring in FFP LLP, weren't we?
Do you mean FPL?
This definitely has to be a thing.
It's a lot of letters.
Sorry.
Here, but I think he means
Oh my God.
FPL.
For the
So many
UNT.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm convinced it's fixed. I'm convinced someone like Haaland's seen that everyone's triple captained him, and he's gone, you know what? This week I ain't gonna bother.
If it's fixed, we haven't got to worry about it. And it's been a great week for me so far. It's not currently the end of the game week yet, but Foden got me a couple of goals. Pleased with that.
That's true.
Ahead of all you guys, so that's the main thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
You
disappointing.
had Foden. Foden's been naff this season. You got lucky there, man.
It's called Football Genius, and eventually you
Oh,
guys
is
might
it?
learn enough to
It sounds a lot
become
like
a bit
luck
wiser
to
yourselves.
me.
But for now, at the time of recording, Tom is still top, but James Sutherland is very close. As I'm looking at it now, 7 points in it at the top of our league. So that lead from Tom.
James will probably finish second anyway because he's an Arsenal fan.
We've made that joke before. We've heard it before. Probably bottle it. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom Lakeman with Stay Humble FC still just ahead. And if you want to join our league, show your true ball knowledge and get shout-outs on the pod every week you top, join with the entry code SD4GZV and see if you have what it takes. Well, there we are, guys. We fixed overrated players in the league. I mean, that's a big one, actually. I think it had to be said. It's been in the ether, and people have been very fearful about saying it, and I think we've been brave and bold today.
Yeah, and I think we've done it properly. We've given it its proper due diligence. We didn't even mention Bergkamp for you, even though kind of one of the most overrated players there is.
If there's anything, when we do an episode on underrated players, you just wait. You just wait.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, you'll pick all of the really highest rated players. But
Yeah.
You'll find one negative comment on the internet. You'll be like, see, he's underrated.
Yeah. Oh, Declan Rice. Everyone keeps saying he's the best Premier League player and he's the best England player, but this one person, this Chelsea fan, said he doesn't like him.
Well, therefore, he's been underrated because everybody should agree. That's the point. So,
Wow.
wait for that episode to come up soon. Underrated players.
I think, guys, we should keep an eye out in future as well for future underrated players. We can have our underrated Hall of Shame, and we'll keep an eye out for future ones, and maybe we can come back to it because this is going to be an ongoing thing.
That's true.
That
Do you
is
mean
true.
overrated Hall of Shame?
I mean exactly that. I mean overrated Hall of Shame.
I think we should have both.
I think
on it. We could have
Yeah, that's
overrated.
true.
at
I think
one
I
end
should.
Of the
I think
hall.
for that comment, I should put myself in it as well. So
We've overrated you. Oh, actually, no, we haven't really overrated him, have we? We never really rated him.
No,
No.
rated him in the first place. To be honest, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
about right.
But we must finish because Dan's got a bus to catch for Talk Sport soon. So hope you've enjoyed the episode, everyone. Have a great week, and it's goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.